Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us here today. My name is Fatima Sayag. I'm a business advisor with the Entrepreneur and Business Center here at Joliet Junior College. I'll tell you very briefly about our program. These two signs behind me pretty much sum it up. We're a small business advising center, and we offer no-cost services to the community, to students, and to anyone who's connected to the college district, which spans 5 counties. You can come to us if you're trying to start a business or grow an existing business for help with a business plan, marketing, digital marketing in particular. We can also help you prepare the financial projections needed to seek lending from a bank. There's a lot that we can do. We have a great team, and we love to help our community businesses. Please grab a brochure on the way out or scan the QR code if you are interested. You sign up to become a client, and one of us reaches out and we get you started. For today, I'll give you some basic housekeeping so we are all comfortable in the 2 or so hours that you're here with us. We'll be starting off with a presentation from the Commission on Equity and Inclusion in the state of Illinois. And the first part of that presentation is an explanation of what the programs are and the process to apply for the certification. Then we will have a break of about 10 minutes or so. Following the break, you can choose to stay or you can leave. And the second half of our workshop is an explanation of how to go through the application. I've heard that it's very long and it's a lot of information that is requested. Those of you who have gone through it understand. So we're hoping to shed some light on the actual application today with some step-by-step information. It's important to know that following today's seminar, our hope here at Joliet Junior College is to be able to provide you with one-on-one support to go through the application process. It's something that we are striving for and hope to be able to offer our community. I will tell you that in February, we're doing a follow-up to today's seminar, which is about the actual bidding process. Once you're certified, how to go ahead and submit for those bids and earn those jobs. Before we move into the presentation, I would like to introduce a valuable member of our college's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion team, and his name is Hector Young. Help me introduce Hector.
All right, good morning, everyone. Buenos días a todos. My name is Hector Young, and I am the Program Manager for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion here at Joliet Junior College. And on behalf of Joliet Junior College Entrepreneur Business Center and the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's BEP VEP workshop. We are thrilled to have each of you here as small business owners and a vital part of our diverse community. Our goal today is to empower you with the knowledge and tools to navigate the Business Enterprise Program and the Veterans Business Program, opening new doors for new opportunities and growth. We hope today's workshop provides you with valuable insights, practical strategies, and new connections that can help elevate your business. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for bringing your unique perspective and experience to this shared journey. Let's make today a productive and inspiring workshop. Thank you, and I'd like to turn it back over to Fatima.
Thank you, Hector. Before we introduce our speaker from the state of Illinois, there's some facts that I wanted to share with you, okay? The topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, has been much discussed recently for positive and for negative reasons. What I'd like to do is share some information with you to help shed some light on why a program, such as the one we're discussing today, is important and necessary in our community and in our nation. 1776, the United States of America gains independence. That means our nation is 248 years old. Now let's talk about rights, women's rights, minority rights, in relation to that 248 years. 1920, women won the right to vote. They have had the right to vote for 124 years. They also did not have the right to vote for 124 years. 1960, women became legally entitled to the same pay as men when they do the same job in the workplace. Same job, same work, same pay. That was 1960. So women, we've had that right for 61 years. That means that a woman could have legally been paid less for doing the same job as a man in the same company for 187 years. 1964, employment discrimination based on race, religion, national origin, and sex was banned in 1964. It's now been 60 years since we've had laws in place to protect people in the workplace. That means discrimination was allowed for 168 years of our nation's 248. 1972. This is about higher education, and here we are in a place of learning, so this is especially important. Discrimination and the denial of benefits at educational institutions was no longer allowed as of 1972. Women and minorities could then gain access to funding to go to college. 48 years ago this happened. 48 years. How many of us in this room are older than that, have been around before that was possible? That means in the United States' 248-year history, discrimination in the higher education space was allowed for 200 of those years. This program also covers certification for disabled persons. In 1978, a National Council on Disability was established to advise the U.S. Department of Education. It was not until then, 46 years ago, that persons with disabilities were officially given the processes and the practices in place to empower them to function at a full level in society. For 202 years, that wasn't even a topic. When we introduce Hector, and we talk about DEI, and we talk about programming specifically designed to support women, minorities, veterans, and disabled persons, there's a reason why this program was developed. And I'm thankful for all of you to be here today to take full advantage of the opportunities that were designed to uplift those who previously did not have access to these opportunities. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Outreach Manager from the Commission on Equity and Inclusion from the state of Illinois, our speaker for today, Johnny Rodriguez.
All right, everybody can hear me? Yes. All right, well, good morning, everybody. As she said, my name is Johnny Rodriguez. I'm with the Commission on Equity and Inclusion. We are the state agency that certifies and the compliance for all state agencies' goals for Business Enterprise Program and Veteran Business Program. Some key terms I will be covering specifically for this presentation. When I say vendor, those are for any business owner. Prime contractor is any business that's entered public contract directly with any public entity. And then subcontractor means a person or entity that enters into contractual agreements with a prime vendor to provide on behalf of the prime vendor goods, services, real property, remuneration of any monetary consideration that is subject to the primary state contract. Additional key terms that we'll be covering are shelter markets. These are procurement procedures in which certain state contracts are selected and specifically set aside for businesses owned and controlled by minority, women, and persons with disabilities through competitive solicitations. Shelter markets are established by the BDP Council when it finds a pattern of racial, gender, or disability-based discrimination in a particular industry. When establishing a new shelter market or adjusting an existing one, the BDP Council identifies the evidence used to make determination in the market segment that falls under that shelter market. Goal setting. The state of Illinois sets a goal on contracts that are $100,000 and above, which allows vendors to have supplier diversity participation. The state has an aspirational goal to spend at least 30% of its total dollars with firms certified through the BDP, and at least 3% of this total dollar with firms certified through the Veteran Business Program, BVP. Small purchase. The small purchase threshold is the maximum amount of money that can be spent on purchase without having to go through a formal procedure process. This threshold is for small purchases of $100,000 or less. Finally, recognition. The Business Enterprise Program allows vendors to request recognition of the certification from one of the state's partners. Later in this training, I will cover those recognition programs. So this is a little overview of the Business Enterprise Program. It was created in 1984. Previously, it was an oversight by the Central Management Services. As of January 1st, 2022, the Commission on Equity and Inclusion has oversight on all state agencies that do contracts through the bid opportunity process. As we said, the BEP certification is free for anybody who wants to get certified with the state. It's a free certification. There is no cost for it. Additional to that, BEP is actively working to increase the number of vendors to our partnership, both in the city of Chicago and Cook County. And we have our own supplier management portal. That is where all certified BEP and BVP vendors are put into the supplier management portal. And they're there to be chosen from for those prime vendors and those state agencies looking to do contracts with BEP and BVP vendors. This portal is important because there, not only are you able to look for certified vendors, but whenever we do have any outreach opportunities specifically through the Commission on Equity and Inclusion, we send out emails, we send out newsletters, and different opportunities when they become available, not only with the states, but also with private entities that have procurement opportunities. Today's agenda, I will cover bid opportunities resources, benefits of being certified, BEP, VEP certification process, and any questions at the end of the presentation. The state of Illinois, they have a quarterly buying plan. They post 1 quarter prior to them being posted. They have a projection of opportunities that they're going to be having in the next quarter, and they do a state quarterly buying plan. I will be providing that state quarterly buying plan to you guys so you guys are able to review. These are contract opportunities that the state has that are going to be available, that are scheduled to be available in the next quarter. Understand that within this state quarterly buying plan, they have shelter market opportunities, meaning that there's certain contracts that are on there that are going to state that they're BEP required or shelter market required. What does that mean? They are wanting for those BEP vendors to submit bid only for those opportunities. So they get to submit bids first and then followed by the general bidders. So when you look at that quarterly plan, you want to make sure you look for those shelter market opportunities, meaning shelter market and BEP. So if those opportunities are set on the quarterly plan, make sure you go for those bid opportunities because those are preset for BEP vendors and VVP vendors. Understand that the state of Illinois, they have procurement boards. That is where they have all procurement opportunities available for the general public to see. Whenever a state agency requires to purchase anything through the procurement process, they have to put it through the procurement boards. The state of Illinois has 4 procurement boards that it oversees. The Capital Development Board, that's for anything that's building up, any building up that is state funded. The State of Illinois of Higher Education General Higher Education Services Procurement Board, that's for any state-funded university and college. Bid by, that's for general service. Any state agency under the governor's office, they are the ones that submit all their bid opportunities through bid by. Additional, the Illinois Tollway, they submit their procurement opportunities through bid by. So if you're trying to do any bid opportunities for Tollway, Department of Corrections, Department of Employment Security, any state agency under the governor's office, sometimes even Secretary of State, they post theirs through bid by. Finally, Illinois Department of Transportation, any highway road that has to be having any type of construction project, any of those are directly with the Illinois Department of Transportation. They post those bid opportunities through those boards. Additional to these 4 bulletin boards, each college, city college, each state-funded college, some other state agencies that are not under the governor's office, they have their own procurement boards. So what I tell small business owners is make sure you go to each of these procurement boards and you sign up to receive email alerts. You will receive an email alert when these opportunities become available. The email alerts are based on the commodity codes of the needs of that agency. Commodity codes are for any goods or services that your business is able to provide. I have provided you today with a sheet like this. This sheet has all 4 procurement boards on it, the ones that I have just provided. Please make sure you go onto those procurement boards and sign up to receive those procurement opportunities through the bids. At the end of this presentation, once you see the QR code, once you sign up, I will send you this via email, so you're able to click at each of these links. These are some helpful resources for those businesses. The Illinois Apex Accelerator Center, those are the Illinois Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Those centers are there to help you go through the process of either getting certified with the state, or whenever you're wanting to submit a bid for any bid opportunity through the state, they're going to help you going through that process. Submitting a bid for a state contract could be complicated. The state understands that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that you have all the information and all the resources available to you to be able to submit those bids. We want to make sure that you have successfully submitting all documents and all required certifications, so you'll be able to be considered to be able to look into that bid opportunity. The Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, that is a great assistance for ability to find funding opportunities. They have both grants and they have loans. Grant opportunities are those businesses that are those funding opportunities that you don't have to pay back. Loans you do have to pay back. So they have those both within their website. And finally, the Business Enterprise Virtual Office Hours. If you have any question, every month on Wednesday, we do have a virtual office hours. Within those virtual office hours, you're able to reach out to us via the link. It's going to be a WebEx. When you get into the WebEx, our certification analysts are on there to be able to answer your questions. Understand that the questions have to be a general question. We cannot be very detailed or answer specific questions on your application because we need to be equitable to everybody. So sometimes vendors get upset at our certification analysts because they're like, well, I have my application through here. Can you tell me my status? Unfortunately, they're not able to go through that process. So please understand that they're there to answer all general questions. If you cannot find it on our website, they'll be able to answer those questions for you. These are some additional resources available that I will be sending the links for. These are just administrative rules, our goal setting forms, Illinois Procurement Code. Illinois Procurement Code, those are the NGIP codes that are available for bid opportunities. As I said, state agencies, they utilize NGIP code as commodity code as far as goods and services that they are looking to do contracts with. So if you're trying to find out which services and goods the state is looking to purchase, go to the Illinois Procurement Code. Utilization plan, goal setting forms, good faith effort guidance, and goal setting manual. All of those links I will be sending to you via email. So, what are the benefits of being state certified? So, as I said, one of the biggest benefits is that the state does have shelter market opportunities that are set only for those BEP vendors. Additional to that, understand that not only do state agencies accept their certification, we have some private entities that accept their certification. So, private entities, private public entities, they also want to increase the number of BEP vendors, meaning they want to increase the number of minority-owned business, they want to increase the number of veteran-owned business, women-owned business, and persons with disability. So, what they do, they go into our portal and they look for those businesses. Understand that prime vendors are also private entities. So when a prime vendor is looking for a subcontractor to meet those aspirational goals that is set by the state, they will go into our portal to look for those BEP vendors.
John, can you give us a couple examples of large companies or institutions that do have these requirements?
I will. Okay. These are some entities that we do accept our certification. Here in the Joliet area, the Hollywood Casino, we have a new casino that's coming out in the Homewood area. They're also accepting our certification. Unfortunately, Bally's in Chicago is not at this point. They have aspirational goals directly with the City of Chicago and Cook County's Business Enterprise Program. But other state agents, other state public entities do accept our certification. As I said, they are businesses that are prime vendors to the state. So the state of Illinois, we require to have insurance. So we have Aetna, we have Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Well, they have to have subcontractors under them to do contracts with us. So understand that there's a lot of opportunities out there. There's money out there for vendors to be able to do business with the state. Understand the state has $20 billion that has to spend in procurement contracts. Out of those $20 billion, 30% is the aspirational goal of those contracts to be a BEP vendor, and 3% of those has to be a veteran business vendor. So, what is the business requirement to be a BEP vendor? Unfortunately, if you're not a for-profit organization, you're not able to get a BEP certification. As long as your business is authorized to transact here in the state of Illinois as a sole proprietor, limited liability corporation, limited partnership, general partnership, and I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, those are the 6 that we're looking to do. As long as you're with the Secretary of State and incorporated with the state to do business with the state, you're able to get certified with the state.
Question, do they have to be the state of Illinois?
You have to be able to do business in the state of Illinois. So if you're, specifically your business enterprise program vendor, let's say you're out of Indiana, you're out of Wisconsin, as long as you're registered to do business in the state of Illinois, you're able to get certified under the business enterprise program. That is different with the veteran business program. With the veteran business program, your business entity has to be a residence here in the state of Illinois, and your home residence has to be in the state of Illinois. That's the only difference between the veteran business program and the business enterprise program. These are the eligible categories for the business enterprise program and the veteran business program. Any minority under these 5 categories, you're able to get certified as a BEP. Black African American, Hispanic, American Indian, Alaska Native, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, or the Pacific Islander. Additional to that, if you're a woman or person with disability, you'll be able to get certified as a BEP vendor. Now, if you're a veteran, as long as you have a DD-214, and then if you're a service disabled veteran, you must have a disability rating through the federal government, whether once you were released from the military or through the VA, in order to. Now, if you have a disability that was after the military, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get the service disabled veteran recognition. For minority, currently, these are the only 5 minority groups that are recognized through legislation law. We are working to add additional groups to this minority group, but that is currently in legislation. So at this time, legislation has not confirmed this. Quick question.
Is there a minimum service rating, like disability rating, when you were discharged?
You can have a 0% through the VA.
Correct.
So as long as you have a 0% rating for the VA, your service is able. So as long as the VA states that you're 0%, you might not have 10%, but you're 0% rated, but as long as you have a rated VA disability.
Question, is any one better than the other, or it doesn't matter?
So once you're certified as a BP or VVP vendor, understand that you are only able to go as one of them. So if you're a woman, minority women business enterprise, a woman business enterprise, minority business enterprise, person with disability, veteran-owned small business, service disabled, you're only able to submit a bid based on one of those categories.
But could you hold more than one certificate?
You're able to hold multiple categories, but when you're submitting a bid, they're only gonna take one of those bids. But you're able to get certified for multiple.
Okay, so just to, piggyback off of what she's saying. Like, I'm a woman, African American, but my husband is a veteran.
Yeah.
So, and we own the LLC together, so we would still only be able to select one.
You're only able to select one. Understand though, when you go to get certified your business, you have to be 51% owned and controlled by one person. So although you have two people 50-50, it has to be 51% controlled by one person to either be a BP or a VVP. So that means that you're only controlled. So that means all duties, all projects, everything that you do through that organization, you had to have 51% of that. So if you're just a name on it, then we're not going to certify. You want to make sure that you have 51% of the duties for that.
So it has to be specified.
Yeah, so we'll go through that. Once we go through the application process, I'll go a little more detail on that.
Okay.
So this is just an overview on this.
Thank you.
The owner has to be a citizen or lawful resident alien of the United States. And fortunately, the business annual gross sales has to be $150 million or under. Day-to-day control of business functions, decision-making knowledge is very important as far as that 51% out. Because a lot of times what ends up happening previously, what they saw was they had a male owner and then they had a female owner, and then they said the female owner was 51%, but then when we went and we did an on-site visit and we asked questions about the business, the person did not have any knowledge. So we are certifying that these businesses do have 51% ownership of that.
Gotcha.
As far as the veteran business, as I said, the owner does require to have a DD 214. They're required to be 51% owner. Difference between the veteran and the business enterprise program, once again, is that within the veteran program, they require them to have an address in the state of Illinois, and their business address has to be in the state of Illinois. As with the business enterprise program, their address could be outside of the state, but as long as they're able to do business in the state of Illinois.
John, quick question. So with this DD 214, does it matter if you have an honorable, other than honorable, or dishonorable discharge?
At this time, during legislation, the only DD 214 that we're able to accept for the veteran is for them to have an honorable discharge.
Thank you.
So BEP and VVP evaluation. What does our certification unit do? What is their duties? We're responsible to certify BEP and VVP vendors. We maintain the list of BEP certified vendors to our management portal. We review certifications of all BEP and VVP vendors, and we conduct on-site visits. We conduct these on-site visits within those 7-year marks. So the state of Illinois BEP certification is good for 7 years, and for the veteran business program, it's 5 years. So within those 7 years as a BEP vendor, we will do some on-site visits to confirm the information you provided when you did your certification application. So, once you're ready to get certified with the state and you want to do a full certification application. So a full certification application means that you're going to be certified with the state. We are going to say this business is able to do business with the state of Illinois based on these commodity codes that based on the sales or goods that they provided in the private sector. As long as you have 3 of them, we're able to confirm that you are in business. Once you have those 3 paid invoices, we're going to say this business is able to do this commodity or this good or this service. Once you are certified, before you get certified, these are the documents that we're going to be requiring your business to show us. On the personal side, we require you to have an individual income tax, copies of your W-2 1099s, eligible to work documents, ethnicity documents, and a resume. A lot of people ask, why a resume? Well, remember I told you 51% of the business has to be owned by that minority group, woman, or person with disability? Well, with that resume, we need a resume for everybody that works in your business. So we can basically calculate which percentage of that business is done by that person who's going to be certified. We're required to have your income tax, a bank signature card. Bank signature card means you need to have a bank account for your business. Now, if you're conducting business as a sole proprietor, but you're using your personal checking account or your personal savings account, we need to have your own account for your business. Because we need to confirm that when you get paid for that business only. Because we're confirming that business to be certified with the state. Proof of contributions. If you're a small business and let's say you have a board of directors or you have stocks that you sold and people are buying for your business to grow, we want to see who's buying those stocks. Because at the end of the day, when you do contracts with the state of Illinois, we have to confirm that there is no conflict of interest. Meaning we don't have a state employee that makes procurement opportunity decisions, have an ownership in your business, and have the influence to give that business to your organization. So we confirm to make sure that there's no conflict of interest. We're going to need the license, permits, and registration for all business entities. So, why are NJIP codes important to vendors? So as I said, NJIP codes, those are the commodity codes as far as services and goods that your business is able to provide. Remember when we had the COVID and the state of Illinois required to have hand sanitizers? So we had a big issue there because we had one NJIP code that only was for hand sanitizer. That NJIP code was not set as a distributor or as a reseller or as just somebody who makes them. When we needed those hand sanitizers, we just went with that original code. Now we made it very specific because we were looking for those extra distributors that actually have those sanitizers, not a reseller. Because we contracted through a reseller, but their distributor didn't have those. So the state of Illinois understood that we needed to make sure we made more codes and more specific to each individual NJIP code, meaning whether there's a distributor, whether it's a reseller, to make sure we understand who we're going to be reaching out to or who are we going to do that contract with. So you're going to receive an NJIP code on your certification based on those sales that you provided or the services you provided. As I said, you're required to give us three invoices, paid invoices. Those paid invoices has to be for the service or goods that you provided in the private sector. So as long as you have somebody that purchased them, you show us that invoice, and we need to see that invoice was paid to your bank account. So now that you want to start your application, it's like, so now what do we do? So you go to the Supplier Diversity Management Portal.illinois.gov/home APIs. There you'll look under the certification, new certification tab and create an account. If you have not created an account, that's how you would create an account. And then you're going to set up your profile. Once you set up your profile, the second part of this presentation, you're going to upload all those documents into this certification portal. Once you go into our website, this is kind of what you'll see. You'll go to our main page, cei.illinois.gov, and you'll go into BEP certification. You'll go under full BEP certification application checklist. Let me zoom in for you guys. Here you go to the certification application checklist. There, that's going to take you That's going to take you to our certification portal. This is how the certification portal is going to come out. You will find here where it says new certification. That is where you're going to create an account. That's where you're going to create your accounts.
Versus create an account?
Yeah, it's just new certification is that green, the green icon, that's where you'll click on,
Oh.
the create an account. Yep. And once you create an account, you click the create an account, this is what's gonna come up, and you're gonna have to set up your own username and your own password. Once you set up your profile, you're able to add new additional documents, so once you upload some documents, and let's say you need to go back and look for additional documents, you're able to, but your information is gonna be saved in the system, so you don't have to keep on uploading the same documents over and over again. So the application in general, once your certification is approved, you will receive an email letting you know your business is certified. Traditionally, you will receive a certificate via an email. Right now, we have transitioned to a new system. With the new system, that's kind of changed a little. So in case you do need any certification paperwork, please reach out to us in case you're not able to generate one through the system. Our system is relatively new, we just started in July, and we have some glitches. So I tell everybody who's getting new recently certification to please reach out to us in case you do have any issues. Now, understand that when you are submitting your application, and it's an incomplete application, our certification unit will reach out to you 3 times. First time you don't answer, we'll send you a second email. Second email, we try to give you a call. If you don't answer by the 3rd time and your application is incomplete, we will close that application. And once we close the application, unfortunately, you will have to go back from the beginning to restart your application from the beginning. Finally, if your application is denied, there are times where we do deny some applications, specifically documents were not completed, or specifically they did not meet the criteria for a minority, woman, person with disability, then we will send you a letter via email letting you know you did not meet the minimum requirement. So, things to remember, certification does not guarantee the contract. Just because you're certified doesn't mean you're gonna get a contract. Certification gives you the opportunity to be able to bid on those shelter market opportunities that are out there, and gives you an opportunity to bid on those opportunities for public and private entities looking to hire BEP vendors. All BEP and BEP services are free for vendors. So, we understand that there are some entities that help businesses get certified and they have a cost. That is not the cost to get certified, that's the cost for the service of their consulting. The state of Illinois has our own business, we don't charge anything. So once you submit your application, we're not charging you. The city of Chicago and Cook County, they have a cost for certification. We do not, so just FYI. Certified vendors are encouraged to bid on relevant open opportunities, so make sure you sign up on all those procurement boards to be able to look when those opportunities become available. Please do. Just because you're certified doesn't mean that they're going to be looking for your bids. So you need to go into each of those procurement boards and submit your bids. Full certification process traditionally takes 60 days. As I said, we've got a new platform. With the new platform, we do have a backlog at this point. So right now, that 60 days has turned into about 90 days. So if you don't receive any communication within 90 days, then please reach out to us and let us know, hey, I put in my certification application, I haven't received any feedback, could you please reach out to me. Missing documents or incomplete information may cause delays. That is the main reason for most of our applications being such a backlog. With our certification platform, as I said, we just transitioned into it as of July 15. Some of the applications that were submitted by June 15 to the old platform did not transfer over. So a lot of those paperwork were lost into the web. So some people had to resubmit their applications, so that's kind of the reason why everything has been delayed. So understand that, if you don't hear anything within the 90 days, reach out to us so we could be able to review that application. And this is the last one, which is very important, specifically with the state. When you do business with the state in general, you must be up to date with your personal and business state income taxes. So the state has bylaws saying that any business or any person that does business or work for the state of Illinois, they have to be up to date with their state income tax and federal income tax. So that's something that we can't change. What does that mean though? That means that you reach out to either the federal government, the state government in case you are having delinquency, you set up a payment plan, now you're up to date for your, so it doesn't mean that because you have a delinquency, you can do business with us. They're just saying being able to reach out to the state or the federal government, letting them know, hey, you know what, I had a hard time, set up a payment plan, and then you can still be able to do business with the state. The state of Illinois, once you're certified, as I said, you're certified for 7 years. Within those 7 years, you do have to complete a no change affidavit application on an annual basis. What does that mean? That your business has not changed ownership, that your business has not changed address. So like say your business changed from being in Illinois and you moved to Indiana, you need to do a no change affidavit. If you did change, then you'll have to complete a additional application requirements. Now, within those 7 years, let's say now your business grew and now you're providing more goods and services. You're able to do it at the no change application where you have to submit an additional application for an addition of NGIP codes, or whenever you're about to, you finish your last invoice for those 3 invoices that I was saying to be able to add an NGIP code. So let's say your business was certified in March, and the following March, that's when you have to do no change affidavit. But let's say in July, you started doing new business, and now you have a new commodity, or new goods and services that you're providing, and now you have 3 paid invoices, and now you want to add those NGIP codes to your profile. Well, at that time in July, you will have to do an application to do an add-on to for your NGIP codes. Okay. Yeah, so as I said, the annual reviews for no change in ownership, gross sales, controlled, and day-to-day operations. Gross sales, so let's say now you become a big company, you're over $150 million and no longer able to get certified with the state under the BEP program. So sometimes it does happen when people get big and then we have to let you go, but it's a good thing.
So question, what if you have a corporation where you have other, like you have LLCs within it? So could it?
So when you do your application, you have to submit documents for each of those entities. So if you're a C Corp and you have it under an LLC, first you have to do who's under your LLC, whose ownership of the LLC, and we have to make sure there's no conflict of interest. And then we go to that C Corp and see how your board is set up and see if you have any stockholders and if those stockholders have any interest in the state business. So yeah, it gets a little more complicated, but the reason we're doing that is because we, by mandate, through through state law, we have to make sure there's no conflict of interest, where you have somebody in your business that has the ability to say yes to a contract and then comes back to us saying, well, you said they're certified and they have the conflict of interest. So as I said, the state does recognize other certifications. Department of Transportation, they are through a federal level. So they have their own certification under MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, that's their certification title. But once you're certified with them, we recognize that. And we say, you know what? The federal government has said, you put an application through the federal government, we're gonna recognize that, and now you're gonna get certified with us. We're gonna certify that your business is able to do business as a BEP business or a BDP business with the commodity codes that you were certified with that entity. But now understand that if your entity wants to add NGIP codes or commodity codes to your profile, we are not going to be able to add codes to your profile under the state's BEP. You will have to go to the original certification unit, add those codes to that original certification unit, and then come back to us to be able to add those.
So if we're certified with the federal government, would we have to go through the same application process?
So it depends on which certification government's certification. So with the MBE through Department of Transportation, Metra, PACE, CTA, Cook County, City of Chicago, we take. So if your federal government is through the Department of Transportation, yes. But if it's not, then no.
So what if you're in the federal government with the Department of Defense and you're a federal contractor?
No.
No.
Unless it's the the Veterans SBA certification. Yeah. So once you complete your certification with these entities, once you go into our system, set up a profile, upload your system, and upload the certification letter from these entities, traditionally it takes about 7 days to get certified as recognition through us. This recognition is good up to 1 year. So the following year, once you want to do again, be certified with the state, you'll have to resubmit that certification letter from that unit, meaning that you're compliant with that unit and nothing has changed.
Question, so what if you have a business, husband and wife, but the husband is 51% majority? If you wanna change it, so the woman, how would you go about that? How would you change that?
So you will go directly to the Secretary of State, depending on which entity, whether you're a C Corp, S Corp, LLC. When you set up your business as an incorporation to the state's Secretary of State, you will set those parameters through that. Once you set those parameters through the Secretary of State, now we understand that it's 51%, but then you also have to show that now your 51% ownership requires 51% of the services that you provide and stuff.
So go to the Secretary of State.
Yeah, the main first one would be the Secretary of State, because that's the one, when you set up your business, it requires you to say, you know, what percent of the business is owned by which entity you're looking at.
Right.
Yep. As I said, no documents is needed. It must be good standing. So when it says no documents is needed, before you had to upload the certification of these units, the CTA is still a little, one of those quirky ones that usually doesn't transfer, so that's why I said sometimes you do have to upload the certification. But most of them, they're already in our system. So once you set up a profile, you put your EIN number, it transfers over unless it knows that you're certified with the state, with any of those entities there. Another recognition program we have is with the Women's Business Development Center, the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council, the Mid-States Minority Development Council. These two entities, they have their own certification for minority-owned business, women-owned business. They have a cost to them. Understand that if you're already certified with them, the state will recognize these. It'll take 7 days, traditionally 7 days, it might take a little longer at this point. But we will recognize that certification. Whatever commodity codes, they use a different code, they use Nexus codes. Whatever Nexus codes you have with those entities, they will transfer over to our system based on, they compare them, but they have, the NGIP code and Nexus code, they might be a general code sometimes. That's the issue that we have sometimes, where a commodity code comes from a Nexus code and is not specific to your specific good and services. Unfortunately, we will not be able to add any more commodity codes to you on the state side. You will have to go back to your main certification unit, ask them to be able to add more Nexus codes to eventually be able to add those NGIP codes with us. So that is the biggest issue we have sometimes with recognition. Sometimes those NGIP codes don't get matched up correctly with the Nexus codes. So you have to go back to that original certification unit to be able to, in order for you to be able to get those NGIP codes for the state. Once again, no cost for this. It might take 7 to 14 business days. Right now, because of our system, it's taking closer to that 14 business day mark. They require you to, well, they provide you with a certificate or a letter letting you know you're certified. That's what you're going to be uploading to our system. So you set up a profile, upload that certification, and then you're certified. So first we cover full certification, where you have to do a full application. Then I covered the BEBP recognition for City of Chicago, Department of Transportation, Metro PACE, and now I cover this. So those are the two recognitions. We have a third recognition. This is for veterans. For veterans, we accept the City of Chicago, Cook County, and the U.S. Small Business Administration certification. For those businesses that are already certified, previously it was called BedCert. Now it's changed to the U.S. Small Business and Veteran Administration's certification. So as long as you have those certificates, we are able to recognize, you set up a profile in our system, you upload the documents, and we'll be able to certify you for those.
I have a question. Now, I'm seeing a lot of mention of Cook County and the city of Chicago. This is a program for the entire state.
It's for the entire state, but currently under legislation, we only have a recognition for those entities. We are working on legislation to add additional counties, additional entities that do some type of certification. But at this point, the only certification that we have recognition for are those that I've shared. And those are by law. So in order for me to add any recognition, we have to go to legislation, we have to put in a bill, the bill has to be approved, and then we're able to add those. At this time, some of the other counties, we have not have a recognition program for it.
So what kind
We do not. But understand, ours is free, there is no cost for us. So all the documents that are required for any other entity, you're able to share those documents with us, and you're able to, because our program is specifically tailored for state of Illinois procurement contracts.
Okay.
So the state of Illinois procurement contracts, we are the oversight, so we make sure that we look at the documents for our site. Now, the city of Chicago and Cook County, they went to legislation and said, you know what, you guys, we don't want to have to do multiple applications. They said, we want to let our constituents use our certification to be able to. So the reason that was put into legislation is because they went to the legislator and said, please add our certification to your recognition. And finally, thank you for joining me. There is a QR code. If you scan the QR code, you put your contact information, fill out the survey. I will follow up via email. I will send you some additional documents. I'll send you a copy of this PowerPoint so you can have it virtually so you're able to go to each link. I will give you guidance on how to receive funding with the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. There'll be a flyer for that, so you'll be able to go directly to them to look for grants and loans. It'll have a link for Illinois APEX, so if you're looking for procurement technical assistance centers. The link will be there. But yeah, thank you for joining me. I'm open for any questions. If you guys have questions, please let me know. Okay.
I just wanted to ask a question about the full certification documents. If you can go in more detail on the business side, you have proof of contributions, and you mentioned that, for businesses that they can have stock options, but if you're a small business and you don't have those stock options, can you give me an example of what other type of proof of contributions that would work?
Johnny, could you summarize and repeat the question for the audience?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for those that are looking to do business in the state of Illinois, and they have a small business, but they have no stock options, they have no board or anything, but you're set up as, let's say, a C Corp that requires you to have that. We require you to be able to provide where the funding came to fund your business. So as long as you have the documentation stating that you started your business based on your own self, that is the documentation we will require. We do have times where there's businesses that receive funding from private entities or people that provide loans or people that family, somebody passes away, you get money that way. Any documentation that basically has a record of where that funds came from, we require to review. Because at the end of the day, our mandate states that we have to see where money is coming to fund those businesses. Because we're stating that any BEP vendor is coming with no inside job, basically. So that's kind of what we're looking to do.
So would documentation be considered the overall growth of your bank account, seeing that?
That and some additional documents, because you have to have, I'll go over it on the second presentation. So if you have a board, you have to have minutes, you have to have the first meeting. So it's based on how you set up your business. I understand that some businesses have some advantages when you set them up as a C Corp, S Corp, but with those, it comes with some additional headaches, specifically for certification, because we require you to actually have a meeting, have board minutes and everything, and you have to provide those minutes to us so we'll be able to certify it.
Oh yeah, if you have two different businesses, can you register both under the same account that you create?
You will not, because each business is set based on what goods and services it provide. Unless you have one LLC and you have 2 S corps under, but then you have to provide information for each individually. Because we're certifying that this is based on what goods and services that business provides, not your overall. Based on how the law is set, is that each business has to provide us a certification for each, or certification application for each of those. Yep.
So I know I came in late, I apologize.
Lisa?
My question is with like the women, minority business certification, you have to be in business for at least 2 years. Do y'all have a certain amount of time you have to be in business in order to apply?
No. So for our certification, you are able to be a brand new business and have no contracts. But understand, we will certify you as a minority-owned business, but we will not be able to add those NJIP codes as far as services and goods that you're able to provide until you're able to provide us with paid invoices.
Yeah.
Johnny, what's a good source for finding out whether or not your ethnicity qualifies under one of the 5 minority codes?
So when you go to
So other won't work?
no.
Oh.
So understand the minority question. I'll cover this through the second part of the presentation. In order for you to certify yourself as a minority, you either have to provide us with a birth certificate that previously had a race in it, now it doesn't. If your parents have a birth certificate that has a race, then you're able to lineage yourself from there. The other option is to self-claim that you are this race.
But how do you know, for example,
For
I'll use myself, I'm Lebanese, Middle Eastern is not on that list. How do I know where I fit? Where can I go to find
So
that?
right now, currently, you're not considered, you only will be able to get certified as a woman,
Is
unfortunately.
there a website where you can find out?
It's on the, yeah, so it's on the,
So, I got questions.
yeah.
I do, before Erica, before your questions, because I know you've got a lot of questions. The second portion of our program is really getting into more of those detailed, nuanced questions about the application and some of the things that might be on your mind. For anyone who is planning to leave after this presentation, please feel free to speak up if you have a question. I'd like to address it first. Otherwise,
So the helpful resources, where it says amendment number 2, notice 2023, that's going to take you directly to the law. And within the law, it's going to state all minority groups that is included in the law. As of right now, as I said, we are working to add additional, but that has not passed through the bills yet. So right now, these are the only ones. So what I provided you today, that is the most current information. I cannot give you upcoming because at this time, this still has not been certified.
is it a good time for a 5-minute break?
Yeah, you guys have any additional questions? You got a question?
I have a question. So if you have a DEP, but you didn't get certified in the year, so what happens after that? You have to start from 0 again?
So, if you did not do your no change affidavit, your kind of gets suspended. You are able to re-put in your no change affidavit. By law, you have up to 60 business days to, if you don't do any no change affidavit, then at that point they will, cancel your DP and then you have to recertify. But yeah, we give you about 60 business days to be able to get that no change affidavit application.
Included with the Asian American category.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to open it here.
restrooms are right out the back and to the right, so past the elevators and to the right. Feel free to take 5 minutes, come back, and we'll reconvene with the second portion.
Asian American, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of the Far East, Southeast Asia, the Indian subcontinent.
And you would have to prove that.
You will have to either buy your birth certificate or self-attestment.
Which that would have to be correct. Self-attestment.
The self-attestment, we confirm based on self-attestment. So that one's somebody says, I
Code of
feel.
honor.
Code of honor.
I
But
mean, people are
understand-
identifying with everything he said, so
Yeah,
that's why I'm trying to ask like.
No, but at this time, the way that the laws state, is they identify, we have to respect it, but understand that when they do a actual, what is it called, compliance, they require you to provide additional information. So that's if you self-attest, okay, it's fine, we'll certify you, but once we do a compliance, and we might require you to have additional information, you have to be able to provide that additional information. So for certification, we try to make it as easy as possible. We understand sometimes you don't have the capability of, let's say, doing a lineage blood work.
Right, I know, because with the federal government, they require you to like do trace and go back and you have to find somebody that
Yeah.
has actually,
Yeah, so when we do compliance, we go that way, but we inform you once you do, so the main one is the birth certificate and having the parents' lineage birth certificate, but if you're not able to provide that information and you're gonna do a self-attestment, when you do self-attestment, we'll tell you, make sure that you're self-attesting this, we will be confirming this when we do compliance.
so then could someone do ancestry research and have that as?
Yeah, that could also be done.
I have a question. So do you have to have citizenship in our country to apply for this?
You have to be naturalized or resident alien to be able to work here or work into the country. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for staying. So this is the ci.illinois.gov website. I don't know what happened here.
Here, let's see if we can change that.
So this is the ci.illinois.gov website. When you're on our website, if you go to the Supplier Diversity Management Portal link here,
Let's move it so that you can be right here. Then you can see what you're doing. Does that work? Oh, good Lord, what happened? Is that better?
yeah, that's it. Thank
Then
you.
you can see and we'll move this out of the way.
No problem. Okay, so Supplier Diversity Management Portal. Here you will find all documents that you're going to be required to need for certification. You will scroll down and it's going to have 4 links. The application document list, that is what you currently have. We have an updated one, but it's all the same documents, nothing different. The Prime Supplier Workflow Guide, that is to go from setting up a profile to uploading all these different types of documents that are required. The Subcontract Workflow Guide, that is if you're already certified with another entity and you want to get certified with us. Supplier Application Submission Guide, sometimes they're required to have an affidavit. That is where you'll be able to find the affidavits. Eligibility requirement checklist, that's once again the checklist that you guys have, so. So depending on what you're gonna be doing, if you're full BP application, so is everybody going to be doing a new application? Okay, so if you're gonna be doing a full BP application, you'll just click on the first one, and it's gonna go straight to the documents. Affidavit of certification. The affidavit of certification, that document is generated on the system. So once you set up a profile on our management portal, and you set up your username and your password, one of the links onto that system is going to say affidavit of certification. That affidavit of certification is the information of your business, specifically on what type of business it is, what type of commodity codes you're going to be, or goods you're going to be providing, and I'm going to show you exactly how that looks. So you create an account to register the business, as you see here. This is the main webpage. You set up your account. The next page is going to have the dashboard on the right, or on the left-hand side. It'll say Certification Center. Here you do applications or certification. Application, that's when you're setting up a new application. So whether you're doing a full BP application or you're doing a recognition application. Certification, that is you're already certified. So if you have a certification through the Minority Supplier Development Group, if you have a certification through City of Chicago, Cook County, that's where you'll go. The dashboard is going to tell you the contracts, total amount, if you have any contracts currently, if there are any open, if you start your application or not submitted. Once you put in for your application, the first one, it will be your full BP application certification. It'll tell you if your certification is in progress, if your certification application is in progress or not. If you're looking to complete your application, you will click on here, and that's going to take you directly to your application. Once you set up your profile, most likely you'll have a 0 out of 1, and there's where you're going to go for your, go for your application and be able to submit all the application needs. So, first question they're going to ask you, is your firm a non-for-profit organization? If you say yes, that application ends right there, because you have to be a for-profit organization. If you say no, then you're going to keep on with your application. Here where it says supplier name, application type, and certification type, you'll choose the application type, whether it's a full certification, whether it is a recognition certification, or where it is an addition certification. Certification type, that's where you're going to choose whether it's a women business enterprise program, where it is a minority business enterprise, where it is a veteran business program, or a service disabled veteran business, or a person with disability business. That is part of the application where you'll start.
Okay, so for application type, we want to say we want full.
Yeah, if you want a full certification, once you check down, you choose full certification. Certification type, that is what you identify with. Then is going to go eligibility requirements. As they ask you, is your firm a not-for-profit? You say yes or no. If it's yes, you don't cancel. Is your not-for-profit organization currently located in the state of Illinois? That's, once again, that's going to, but if you say no, it's going to have the same question, but it's going to ask you if you're for-profit organization located in the state of Illinois, so you'll say yes and you will continue to proceed. Now, some application types will say shelter workshop program. So this will be considered a shelter workshop program, but right now that is still not available. So if you see that, do not click that. I will let you know when that becomes available. I will email you. So I already have your email contacts. But being that you're at this point today, it's full BP certification or full BVP certification. All right, the following questions are going to start asking you. Is your firm owned at least 51% by a minority, woman, person with disability, or a veteran? Yes. Is your firm controlled by at least 51% of the business controlled by one or more persons, a minority group, women, person with disability? Say yes. Is the owner of your firm a citizen of the United States or a legal permanent resident? So you go yes. And does your firm have an annual gross sales of less than $150 million? All right. So after that, it's going to go through the application track. So it's going to ask you, do you hold a current WBE, MBE certificate from any of the following: City of Chicago, Cook County, Illinois, PACE, Metro, CTA, or Department of Transportation? You say no. Do you hold a current veteran certificate from one of the following: Chicago, Cook County, or SBA? If it's yes, you say yes, and then it's no. Do you hold a current WBE, MBE from the WBDC, CMSDDC, or the Mid-States Minority Supplier Development? So if it's all no, just click on no. Was your last renewal based on a no change application? Would you like to renew your current BEP application? So if you already were certified previously and you want to do a no change application, you're able to also do it on this part of the questionnaire. But being that nobody is certified, all these questions answers should be no. So once you complete and you say no to all those 4 questions, you confirm the application track. You say yes, and that's going to move you on to the following stage. Sorry. All right, so once you did the primary questions and you're saying you already stated what application you're applying for, now you're gonna upload those documents. So as you know, first step is the affidavit certification. Once you complete that first section, that affidavit certification is gonna be completed for you. So as long as you answer those questions at the beginning, that affidavit certification is gonna be completed for you. So you don't have to do anything else. Once you complete that part, that's gonna get generated through the system. Then you're gonna download your most recent statement of your bank statements, your financial statements. This has to be your business account. So if you have your business has your own either checking or savings, you want to upload those statements. They require you to upload the last 3 to 6 months of statements. Now, if your firm has been in business longer than 6 months, they traditionally require you to do at least the last 2 years. But if your business has only been open for at least 6 months, they require up to 6 months. That's usually the minimum what they're looking to do.
What if this bank account is just a couple of months old?
I'm sorry?
Bank account is only been there for a few months.
So you have to wait for that 6 months, because minimum is 6 months. That is the minimum that they're looking to do.
So with the business account, I know that you mentioned that once you make 150 million, you no longer qualify. But is there a minimum that is required when you're looking at bank?
No. So the bank statements, we're just looking that you have an established bank statement.
Okay.
We're not looking for the monetary value of what you have in there,
Okay.
unless when you're providing information that you started your business, they want to know where that funds came from. So was it a cash deposit or was it a deposit that you made under an invoice? So that's the main purpose of what they're looking through that financial statement.
I know you mentioned they want to know where you got the money to start your business.
Yeah.
What if you just started from scratch?
As long as you're able to show that it was your own personal money, whether it came from, you had a 9-to-5 job and you started your business from that, or you made a loan, or you made so let's say you have a property, and you did a loan through your property, you have to show where the funds came from. So we're just trying to figure out where those funds came from. Make sure if the funds came from somebody, who was that person that provided the funds, or if that money came from yourself, where you're able to get those funds from.
So are you stating that in your documents, or are you just providing the documentation?
Just providing the documentation.
And you guys figured it out?
We figure it out. Now, if we need it more specific, so like, that's the reason we usually follow up when we're doing the application. So let's say you provided your financial documents and you provided us basically a deed or something that said that you got those funds from a different place. If we need specific questions, we will ask you, where did this fund come from? But the original document is just your financial documents. That's all we require. We don't require you to give us a specific on each until we reach out to you if it's something that does not make sense to you.
You mentioned earlier about the resume, right?
Yeah.
This resume has to be matched with the business or it is not?
It does. So it has to be a resume for each person that works in your organization. Because what we're doing is we're confirming that 51% ownership of that business owner.
So if the person is the only person working in the business,
Is that only one resume?
okay, so.
But you have to provide duties and what is it that you do for the business. So were you in the HR, did you do the finance, did you do the payroll, invoice?
All of that.
So basically you do have to put that on your resume.
I'm trying to get some clarity, so if it's only one person, is that a sole proprietorship?
It's the way you set yourself up within the Secretary of State.
Okay, so if it's just one person,
You can be an S corp as a one person, but understand that as an S corp, you're gonna have to provide all the documentation needed for the S
I'm
corp.
talking about like the percentage, because if it's one person,
But as long as you put 100%, our requirement is 51%, but if you say you're 100% ownership, that's all we look for.
thank you.
So mandatory documents for all applicants, mandatory documents based on legal structure. As I said, depending on what your legal structure is, that is what we're gonna require you to provide. Federal returns and your business returns. We require to do your last year. Now, if your business has been established for more than 3 years, then we go, I believe they said up to 6 years. But if you're a brand new business that have no taxes, it'll be your personal income tax, at least 3 years of your personal income tax. But if you're a new business with, at least 1 year, we need to make sure you have that 1 year of your business income tax on the system.
So instead you need a 1 year business.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, who do you want to go first?
You can.
You were, please.
So, what you were just saying with let's say we got the 1 year of business tax, then but I need the 2 years of personal tax.
Yeah, so we go back 2-3 years, but if you're a brand new business with no, business income tax, we require you 3 years of your personal.
Like suppose the business is registered for 6 months only before submitting.
Then it'll be your personal income tax for 3 years.
Johnny, is it fair to say that even if you are a brand new business, you can't technically apply because you need your bank account to be at least 6 months old?
Correct.
So really, you have to be a registered business, LLC, S corp, whatever it is, plus have a business checking account for at least 6 months, then you can apply.
Okay.
So we got 6 months to do this paperwork together.
So, as I said, your federal income tax, your individual and your business, your bank signature application form. So once you went to the Secretary of State and you got your articles of incorporation, and now you went to your bank and the bank provided you a letter of your new bank, that letter that you received from the bank, that is the letter that you're required to upload onto the system.
Does that have to be dated, like, can it?
It's from the
Some
date.
things have to be, it can't be dated.
Yeah, no, it's from the day you started, you open that business account through that bank. So you got your articles of incorporation from the Secretary of State, then you might have waited 3 months and then you went into getting a bank account with that bank. that first document you get from the bank stating that this, this business has, this EIN number has an account with us, that's the document we require, and that's the one you'll be uploading. Copies of W-2s, 1099s of the past 3 years for all owners and officials. So, as I said, if you are an owner and you're self-paying yourself as a contractor, you have to show either a 1099, showing yourself that you're paying yourself as a 1099 as a contractor, or if you're an owner and you're paying yourself as an employee as a W-2, we need the copies of those W-2s and 1099s. Additional to that, if you have any employees or anybody in the business with you, whether you're paying them through subcontractor pay through 1099 or you're paying them through W-2s, we require all W-2s and 1099s for that business. So not prior to your business, we're talking about for the business itself. So unless you're providing your W-2s for any job that you have, during the time that you were employed for the last 3 years. So that is what we're
What is
requiring.
the amount threshold that you have to pay someone for, in order to?
For 1099?
Yes.
I don't want to give you false information, I don't know.
I thought it was that.
But I believe it was 600 or something like that, but I don't want to give you false. Yeah, I believe anything above 600, that was last time
In a year, calendar year?
for the calendar year. But that was the last time I did a 1099 for someone, but like I said, I don't know if it would change. So I don't want to give you false information. That's something you have to deal with directly with a tax accountant or something with those. So the additional document that you'll need will be your citizenship, residency, U.S. passport, legal permanency of the owner. So if you're the owner, you have either your birth certificate, your passport, if you're a resident alien, your resident alien card, if you're a naturalized citizen, your naturalization paperwork. You will need to have a copy uploaded to the system. Now, the evidence of this ethnicity of the owner. This is where you'll have to upload either your birth certificate, if your birth certificate has the ethnicity of your parents. If it does not, go back to your parents, and if your parents have ethnicity on their birth certificate, you upload their birth certificate, and then your birth certificate saying you're their children, just lineage by that. U.S. passport, if you have an American passport that has your race on the passport, that's one of the documents where you would accept. Naturalization papers, and then a signed and dated statement of ethnicity. That is another documentation that we take for those that are want to be classified for minority group, specifically for certification. Any question on that? So this is where we go. Current chronological resume for all owners, officers, management employees, supervisors, and foremen. This is the part where a lot of people tend to delay their application because they're like, why do I need a resume? Or they provide us a resume of when they've worked in the private sector. We need a resume for your current position with your business. So all the different duties you do within your business.
So we need to tailor it accordingly, regardless of previous experience.
Yeah, previous experience, the thing is, we are certifying you as a business. So although you might have knowledge of the business in your previous, we are not going to give you any points for that. We're only going to give you points based on what you have as a business. So we ended up having a lot of times is, we have people that worked in business for 15 years and they have knowledge on logistics, but they have knowledge of logistics with somebody else's business. We are certifying that you have logistic knowledge as doing business as yourself, being able to get a contract, being able to provide a service for that contract, being able to submit a bid for that contract. That is what we are confirming for the state, that you as a business owner is able to provide that. When we receive a resume stating that you did this for another business, we're not going to be able to say this business is able to do that certification. That's the reason for that.
So the resume is not designed to qualify you as being the right person to run this business based on your experience.
Yeah, we're just trying to see what you're doing for the business as a business owner. What are your duties as a business owner for that? for that business.
And I'm assuming that has some time limit, like, we're saying 6 months for the.
That has no time limit. No, we don't have because you start a new business, you're running your business as a self-proprietor sometimes. You usually have to write what you're doing as your daily activities, or are you doing the financials, are you doing the procurement, are you doing what is it that you do for the business itself?
So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding you. So my 30 prior year experience that I had does not matter. So basically, it should be creating a brand new resume.
You will be creating a brand new business. Some people add those information on there. We don't disqualify you for adding them, but understand that we are qualifying you for this business based on what are you doing for the business today and not what your knowledge is on previously. Unfortunately, that is one of the things that we get a lot, because people are like, well, I have the knowledge of this. Yes, we understand you have the knowledge as an employee, but what knowledge do you have as a business owner to do this? Yeah, so including work history, dates, and responsibilities, let's make sure you have it on there. So proof of contribution, right? All owners acquire stock in the firm and startup capital. So cancel checks, sign loan agreements, bank statements, promissory notes. Once again, this is very important because we're trying to see who's funding your startup. Was it a self-startup? Was it somebody giving you money that they passed away and you were left with some additional money? Is it somebody lobbying you to get into the business? So we want to confirm that this business was started off by you, and we were trying to figure out where those fundings came from. Because at the end of the day, when we do our compliance, we want to make sure there is no conflict of interest. If anybody have, ability to approve contracts through the state, so they want to make sure that all the money from your businesses came from you or came from somebody that has no interest with the state.
Reference to this one, so the bank account is not open yet, but there's a separate transaction has already been taking place toward the business. How that can play a role?
So you have to have either a copy of the check or a copy of an agreement of how that money came to you prior to you opening that bank account. So anything that before you open the bank account, if you have, some people don't open the bank account until they have the funds, you have to provide us those documentations of how you receive that money. That way we confirm and we have to make sure that it has no conflict of interest with anybody within the state.
But yet bank account has to be there for 6 months.
So for the first one is the business bank account. For this one, on contributions, you can use your personal bank account because that's where you receive the fund. So we have to confirm where you receive the funds and how those funds came to you.
Thank you.
Yep. So if you bought this business from somebody else, so sometimes people buy businesses that are already established, you have to provide a how did you purchase that business. So let's say a business has been there for 50 years and now you acquire that business, we need to see the documentation as how you acquired it. Did they provide you the business based on an agreement that you'll be paying the 10-year lease, or did you purchase an agreement based on however you did it? So we require to look at those documents and upload those documents to the systems. Sometimes what ends up happening, a subcontractor or a prime contractor, they want to sell their business. We want to make sure that that prime contractor does not have some incentive for you to get into that business. Meaning, like, yes, I'm giving you this business and I know you're going to get this contract. So it's that whole conflict of interest side of it that they're looking for. So if you purchase a business, how did you purchase it? Is there any conflict of interest within the person that sold you that business to the state? That's what the main purpose that we're looking for. Equipment lease, inventory equipment include off-firm. So once you purchase any equipment, whether it's a home office, whether it is a manufacturing company that you're manufacturing something, you have to provide the documents on what you're using the equipment for. Is it a lease? Did you purchase it? Was the business, is the things that you're purchasing for the business, specifically those equipment, is that equipment going to be utilized outside of your business, or is it going to be only utilized for the business? So are you going to have access to it in your personal site or not? we're looking to make sure we have that, that information. So when you provide that information specifically when you purchase, you also have to give us a statement stating what's that equipment being used for. If it's only going to be used for your business, you know, the statement saying this equipment is only going to be used for your business and no personal reason for that.
Some of these documents seem kind of general. Would you accept a Word document with these statements written on them for an example of the equipment? Or is there a form provided that says equipment, fill this out and then submit it?
So they require you to get it, so whenever you purchase it, so if you have an invoice, we require you to have the invoice. Now as far as the statement is just a Word document. But like when you purchase anything that you purchase for the business itself, we do require you to provide the invoice of those equipment that you purchase for the business.
But you guys ask those questions, we don't just automatically submit that information.
For the business, for the equipment itself, originally it's just give us an invoice of the equipment you purchased. No questions asked. Now, if we see something that might not match, then we will go and ask those additional questions. But traditionally, what I tell people is like, the more information you provide, the less likely they're going to reach out to you. So try to provide as much information you can. Traditionally, what ends up happening, they'll reach out to you if we don't see a clear path through the process. But if you're able to provide more information, we don't. The more information you provide, the better it is for us. We're not going to say, don't submit this information. The more information, please do so.
What about the business expenses like a travel, expo, hotel?
That's through your taxes. So when you submit your
taxes.
Yeah, your business expenses through your taxes. So let's say you have a home business. You have to provide your home address. You have to provide what percentage of your. So it's like an affidavit. So you'll do an affidavit, but you have to provide. If you're using a home office, what percentage of the home you're using for your office? Are you using any equipment specifically for that business? Now, if you're leasing a business, if you're leasing a business place or you're leasing an office outside, you also have to provide the leasing agreement. So how long is the lease? Is it 12 months? Is it 18 months? You have to provide the lease. So you have to provide the terms, make sure that you're paying for the lease, and everything's coming from the business itself. So as long as you provide all that information and there's no discrepancies, you'll be able to move forward. What people have issues with that sometimes is they provide a lease and then the lease was only for 12 months and they never renew the lease. And now they're having a renew lease, then they ask to go back and provide an updated lease. So that's usually the only issues they have with those. So as long as you have an updated lease and you upload that to the system, we're good to go. You don't have to, but if your lease has ended and now you're month to month and you have not renewed it, that's usually when they have the most issue with the application. So remember when I told you about the NJIP codes? So we are looking for 3 completed projects or 3 completed invoices that were paid to your organization directly to that business bank account. Once you have those, make sure when you provide that invoice to that entity that you're providing that service, you are detailed on that invoice, stating, I'm providing this service, and within that service, what are you providing? Be specific, because we're going to provide you the commodity code specific to that service you're providing. So let's say you're a restaurant, and when you're a restaurant and you're going to provide a catering service, be like, I provided, so on your invoice you're going to write catering services for an event of 500 or catering service for an event of 300. And then you go specific, like I provided food, I provided utensils, I provided specifics. Why? Because we're going to give you a commodity NJIP code based on what you have on that invoice. If you don't have it on that invoice, you won't get to receive that NJIP code. So if you don't receive that NJIP code, then you have to come back to us and be like, well, yeah, you gave us an invoice, but it doesn't have it on there. It's going to be a harder time to be able to get those commodity codes. So be very detailed when you're providing those invoices to get paid by somebody else. Write specifics of what is it that you did. If you did pre-work to it, did you do the setup, did you do breakdown? Be very specific on what the services you provided with, or you're providing to that.
So if you have it set up, if you have your invoice set up for your business, and you were able to distribute receipts and things like that, but at the time it was going to a personal account, would you still be able to use those invoices?
I would have to get back to you on that. So I'm part of the outreach team, the certification team, the one that certifies that. Let me get back to you on that one. I don't want to give you false information. Any questions? So the authorization to transact business in the state of Illinois, that means you went to the Secretary of State, you have your articles of incorporation with the state, we need a copy of those articles of incorporation. That you need to upload to the system. So now we're going into a little more specific. So depending on how your business is set up, that is the documents that will require you to upload after this. The first 15 documents, that is standard for all entities. Now, if you are a corporation, you will have to show the articles of incorporation, your most current corporation annual report filed to the Secretary of State. So on an annual basis, the Secretary of State requires you to do a report on what you've sold or what your business did. If you are new in business, you won't be able to have that. So after your first year, that's when you'll be able to have. So if you're a new business, you will not be able to, if you're a corporation, you're not going to be able to get certified as a corporation, but you're able to get certified as a sole proprietor until you become a corporation. So when you do that no change affidavit, now you have to update if you became a corporation after the fact. Because a lot of times what ends up happening, somebody sets up their business as a corporation, but the first year they don't have it, they're not able to get certified with it. So what we tell people is like, start off as a sole proprietor and then change into that corporation status after. Bylaws. So in a corporation, you're required to have bylaws. So that means you have to have an official document of how your business is going to be run by the bylaws. That is a must. If you don't have those, that tends to slow down your application. For any of those technical assistance, you will need to go through Illinois Apex. They're the ones that will be able to help you out as figuring out how to do your bylaws. They have like templates on bylaws that are out there, and you just reassemble those, and that's what we'll take. The bylaws are based on what you set up as your business. There is no standard. This is based on how you set up your business and how you want to set your corporation to be. Copies of all stock certificates. As I said, if you're 100% owner, you just have to provide provide to us that you're 100% ownership and all stocks are to you. Now, if you do have anybody that has interest into it and you sold stocks to them or you sold options to them, you have to provide the name, the person, and more information on that individual, because we have to go back and check to make sure that there's no conflict of interest with the state with those persons. Minutes for your first stockholders meeting. So once again, you have to have an official meeting. You have to write your minutes and have a document stating the minutes where you hold that board. Where did you hold it? Did you hold it at a public setting? Did you hold it at a meeting setting? All of that information we do require you to upload into the system. This is just specifically for corporations. If you have a director's board, you have to write a number of directors. Now, a lot of times if you're only person into that business, you'll say director, 100% yourself, and no other directors, but you have to provide that you had to have some type of, what is it called, sorry? So if you're the only director, you have to provide an affidavit stating that you're the only director and there's nobody else that has interest into your business. So anytime that you are the only sole proprietor for any of this, you do have to provide an affidavit stating, I'm the sole business owner and I don't have anybody else in my business or anybody else has interest in my business. Those documentation is important because we are making sure that there is nobody else influencing you into the business. Yeah, so same thing with the minutes for the stockholders and minutes for the board. Unless you do have an official board, an official director's board, then you provide that information. If you don't, we require you to have an affidavit stating why you didn't have a board meeting and stating your sole proprietor. And that's the reason you didn't have those meetings. So you are able to provide those affidavits stating that you're the only business. Now, if you have a spouse and you're 51% owner, then you have to state on those board meetings who's the main person into the board and who has the most stocks into that business. Any questions from there?
Well, all the affidavits requested in here, will they all need to be notarized?
Last time I checked, I'll have to get back to you on that one because last time I checked, they said it was just an affidavit. They didn't say it was notarized or not. Yeah. The only difference with the LLC is your operating agreement. That is if you have an operating agreement with another party within that LLC. There's a different additional document you'll need for the LLC. For partnerships, articles of incorporation, trying to see who owns the largest amount of stock into that business, so who's majority owner. For sole proprietor, for sole proprietors is just basically that you're the only person into the business. Really no additional information. Now, if you have previously tried for an application for the state and you were denied, then if you were denied, you will have to upload that denial letter into the system. Yeah.
Question about for the LLC, the operating agreement, would a business plan be sufficient?
Business plan and capacity statement would be sufficient for those.
Okay.
Yep. Now, if you're applying for a person with disability, we do need you to download and sign the person with disability statement stating that you are a person with disability, and you have to have the letter of your physician or from the Social Security Administration stating that you're a person with disability. Those are the two documents we accept for those that are trying to get the PBE certification. For veterans, we do require the DD-214. Once again, it has to be an honorable discharge for that to be. Now, if your business requires any licenses through the state's, what's the name of that? Illinois Department of Financial Regulation. If your business requires any license to those, we require you to upload those licenses and certifications to the system. If you're not sure if your business requires a license, on my presentation, I will send you a link, and it has the IDPFR website. There, you're able to go on there, you put your information as what your business is, and see if your business requires to have a certification or license to do business in Illinois. Copies of all signed loan agreements and line of credits. Once again, make sure that whoever the main owner is has to have their name on there. Sometimes, if their main owner's name is not on there and it's just a business name, see how they got that line of credit. So sometimes people don't have business credit; they go directly through that sole proprietor person to do the line of credit. We need to get all those documents stating that you're the ones that apply for that business first, and then do the business. So any document for any loans or any line of credit, those will need to be uploaded into the system. And finally, that is finally it. There's everything else is for the no change affidavit. That's for once you're certified. Once you receive your full certification, then you do the no change application process, and that's on an annual basis. For that one, you do have to upload your federal and business income taxes, your personal and business income taxes on an annual basis. And that none of those entities change, specifically the ownership or influence by anybody else in their business.
So that no change, you said that's done annually?
Yeah, so you're certified for 7 years,
Right.
but on an annual basis, you have to upload your federal and state income tax
Okay.
and your business income tax stating that you're up to date,
Okay.
and also confirming that no change has been made to your business.
Oh, okay, so if you did, hire employees, you would need to. report.
Yeah, if you hired. No.
You had mentioned, the Illinois Department of Transportation. Do we have to get registered with the DBE on there? And, you mentioned the SBA. If we did any of those, we could bypass the,
Yeah, so for the recognition,
yeah.
so the recognition application is the same website, it's just you don't do the full certification. So when you check on the application, you say you're already certified. So here, yeah, so when you start the application, it asks you, are you already Department of Transportation, Metro, PACE? Once you click on those, if you say yes, then it's gonna take you to be able to upload your, right here. So the choose application track, do you hold the current WBE, MBE certification from one of the following, City of Chicago, Cook County, ILUCP, IDOT, CTA, Metro, PACER. Those are through SBA. Specifically the Department of Transportation, that's the,
So would it be on the Illinois Department of Transportation site or the SBA? Because I went to the SBA. Is it the same thing?
so do you have an MBE?
Minority, yeah,
Okay, and do you have a DBE, disadvantage?
yeah,
So is it through the SBA?
SBA. I
So,
went through the SBA.
so we accept Department of the US Department of Transportation's, DBE program and minority
Not
business.
the Illinois Department of Transportation, or it has to be US Department of Transportation?
So you have the state's Illinois Department of Transportation?
The WMBE, the W Women Owned Business,
Through Illinois Department of Transportation.
through, yes, the Small Business Association.
Yeah, so the only one we currently accept has to be through Illinois Department of Transportation, CTA, Metro, and PACE. Those are under the federal Department of Transportation's guidance.
Okay. I don't know, I think we might be saying the same thing, but I'll check, either way.
Yeah, so Metro, PACE, CTA, the Illinois Department of Transportation, they have disadvantaged DBE,
Mhm,
and they have a MBE.
mhm.
Those programs are set under the federal guideline of the federal Department of Transportation.
Right, because when you register for those, you have to put your cage code in
Yeah,
and your next code
correct.
for your
So
federal.
as long as you have those, and it's certified, once you go into our system and you say yes, traditionally what ends up happening, our system pulls together, both together, and you start the application, you're certified.
Okay,
If it doesn't do that, what I tell people is upload that certification you got from them, so we can confirm and be able to do that fast track application.
Okay.
For that one, that's a fast track application, takes 7 to 14 business days. You don't require any of the documents that I talked about earlier. Only for fast track application, because you did all of those documents already with that application. For a full certification, these are the documents required in order for you to be able to go forward.
We are about 10 to 15 minutes past time. so
Sorry.
No, it's very helpful information. Be organized, right? For those of you who are just starting out, file your paperwork somewhere you can find it, because you're going to need it. I heard a lot of accounting questions. We happen to be hosting a small business accounting panel here in this room in 2 weeks. If you're interested in hearing a lot of this small business tax and accounting information, please attend this event. It's very hard to get accountants to leave their office, and we managed to get 2 of them. Yeah. Yeah, thank you all for coming. You have my email. My name is Fatima Sayek. I've been contacting you. I'll make sure that you have a direct contact to Johnny as well. Anything we can help you with on this topic, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, I signed up, is that November 14th?
Yes, you did, Jenny. Thank you. All right, that's our program for today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, guys.